The Dreamer's Den, a podcast about daring to dream. With host, Brad Robbins.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Dreamer's Den. Today we are podcasting in a new location. We're actually in the Foreign Figures recording studio, and this place is legit. I'm joined today by one of my favorite people in all of this world, solo recording artist and Foreign Figures frontman, contestant on season 23 of NBC's The Voice, and probably most notably, candle connoisseur, EJ Michels. Ladies and gentlemen, EJ Michels.
What's up, everyone? I'm super excited to be here.
I mean, we can get to the music stuff in a minute, but can we start with the candle thing?
Oh my gosh.
You're a smells guy.
I love good scents. I have to have it burning during the day, when I go to bed, like when my students come in, when I'm teaching voice lessons. I want people to have an experience, not just...
appreciate that more than you even know. Like there's something about... So for me, it's smells and it's lighting, which is probably why like lighting has totally become a thing in the podcast. Because it's just there's something about lighting and ambiance that just creates a mood.
Yeah,
totally.
Totally. And like creating in my own home studio, I have the specific candle, a cedarwood moss. I don't even know what moss smells like, but
I didn't know you could smell moss.
Yeah, it's
that's interesting because one time I was in a furniture store and it was one of those instances where the smell was so incredible I could not help but go around and ask the employees, like, can I don't want your couch, but can I buy that scent? It turns out the scent was bamboo.
Really? Okay.
I had no idea bamboo smelled.
Wow.
But it was incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, big smells guy. I also love, I'm like a warm scents guy.
Yeah.
So give me like sandalwood, vanilla, cinnamon.
Like woody.
Yeah, musky.
Yeah, musky.
Yeah, woodsy.
Kind of a more like a masculine smell, but it's just totally cologne-y a little bit.
Yeah, there's something about it.
I love it.
I feel like that was the right way to start this podcast today.
Yes.
Well, as I said,
we need the scents.
Yes, well, we do. I know. I'll bring candles next time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so as I said, here today with EJ Michels, an incredible vocalist, an amazing human being, and someone that I have had the chance to work with on a number of occasions through Gentry. Yeah. And I thought it'd be fun to start off our podcast today kind of sharing with the listeners what our relationship and kind of backstory.
Yeah.
So I remember it was back in 2019. We had just gone full-time Gentry, and we were kind of like figuring out like, okay, what do we want to do? What kind of projects do we want to work on now that we have more time and more focus? And we had this idea for a Mother's Day collaboration. And we're like, okay, we want it to be sweet and sentimental, but also like we want it to be different than anything we had done previously. And so we had this idea to reach out to a bunch of local artists that we knew through the community, and your name came up in a discussion. And when it was mentioned, I was like, wait, I've seen them on Instagram. Like they're incredible. His voice is next level. And so I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Like he doesn't know who I am. Like I'm just going to call him up. So I want you to go back in your mind to that moment, wherever you were, you get this random phone call, and all of a sudden some random dude named Brad from Gentry is inviting you to collaborate on this project. What went through your mind?
Well, I usually am not like skeptical, but I'm really good at saying no if I don't want to do something now. And I had already known who you guys are. I saw you on Instagram, and I think I saw you guys like play or sing the national anthem at the BYU Stadium.
Oh, probably for Stadium of Fire.
Stadium of Fire. And I was like, these guys are legit. So I know it's going to be a professional thing, and I hadn't met you guys yet before. But in my head, I was just like, like how would my style of music kind of vibe with their listeners and their fan base and whatnot? And I'm in the, just the belief that collaborating even with people outside of your genre of music can be a really beautiful thing. And I said yes. And so happy I did. And now I have my mom every Mother's Day, and she's obsessed with the video and loves it and constantly plays it, not even on just Mother's Day, like throughout the entire year.
I love that.
And then yeah, so many of her friends and just so many people have met me through that video or have found me through that video that would never have found me through just my band's music. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the name of the game in today's music scene is collaboration. Like
totally
getting yourself exposed to other fan bases that you otherwise wouldn't have ever been put in front of. And the fact is like we all have variety in our music taste, right? It's like I sing a certain way with Gentry because like that's the voice that God gave me. But the reality is like I love Foreign Figures music. Like I want to rock out to that. I listen to you guys at the gym. Like I go to every show that I can. Like I can't perform that myself, but I love and enjoy it, which is super cool.
Totally.
So fast forward from that project that we did that was more of like a produced studio and music video project do you remember when we did our Gentry session together?
Oh my gosh, that was fun.
That was fun.
I remember that in that house, that really beautiful house, doing a few takes and just laughing on some of them and trying to get a good take. I think it was on the Fever.
Yeah, so
we
it was
trying to
the
get a good
Fever,
take.
and we mashed it up with one of our original songs, Soldier.
Yeah.
And it worked brilliantly, actually.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
I actually looked it up the other day and listened to it again. I was like, I don't know if Gentry could ever have one of these because this word is too cool for us, but like that was a banger. It was so cool.
Yeah. No, and then the Imagine Dragons one, it was so fun. Yeah, that was a long time ago, but it
2019
doesn't seem like a long time ago. I feel like life since then has just been so fast. Like 2020 on, it's like,
oh, it's a total blur.
yeah.
But fast forward to December of 2022, and this for me of everything that we've shared together in terms of our industry relationship with music, having the opportunity to invite you as a special guest to our Christmas show in Salt Lake City, that was awesome.
Oh man, such a special time. Like that definitely tops the cake. Like it's performing to that literally in the Eccles Theater with that many people, with friends that I know, surrounded by so much love and Christmas music and just like a good spirit. Like it was the best way to end my performing season in 2022. It was so fun.
Which it ended the season of 2022, but then 2023 came around and you were just getting started.
Oh yeah.
You're off to LA.
Yeah.
And you are a contestant on The Voice.
Season 23.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, how did that all come about? I'm sure people have been bugging you for years, like, hey, go do this show or this show, and here you are finally on one.
So many friends would be like, why aren't you doing like American Idol or The Voice? And I always wanted to put my foot forward in my original music and make that a big thing and have a lot more like artist development. But I always auditioned. I think I auditioned 3 times on The Voice, and then the 4th time is when I got through. And I was honestly very shooketh. I was very surprised. I was
shooketh to the core.
Shooketh to the core. I was just, I don't know. I've been wanting this dream since high school. So when I knew I was making it into the season, I was both terrified but so elated at the same time.
Where did you audition originally to get on the show?
For this season that I was on, I auditioned at home on.
Oh, it was a virtual audition.
It was a virtual audition.
That's right.
Just this audition, anyone can do. It's an open call audition for anyone. Just on my piano in my living room.
Okay,
Yeah.
Amazing. And then, what song did you audition with?
Sam Smith, "Lay Me Down," and that was actually my boyfriend's idea. I've always never really put too much work into the auditions, but this time around, I'm like, okay, I need to pick a song that really shows everything that I can do. I gotta fit the camera angle so they can see me and just do it confidently. And I did that song. I kind of cut up the verse and did an entire chorus, and it was just 90 seconds. And within 30 minutes, I got an email like, okay, on to the next round, send us more stuff.
I feel like there should be an auto filter like enabled on these virtual auditions where if you submit a Sam Smith audition, like you automatically have to get looked at. Because if you can sing in his range, like it's probably worth a listen. It's not easy.
It's super head voicey, but it's not just head voice. It's like kind of more of a fuller head voice. You're kind of mixing in that upper register, which is really hard to do. So
which the mix portion, and some of our listeners are gonna have no idea what I'm talking about, but those of you that are vocalists, you'll understand. I think that the mix of your voice is what I have just fallen in love with. It's such a unique placement, and it's so effortless and controlled.
Oh, thank you.
So fast forward, then you're on the show, you're in the blind audition, and you audition with which song?
Adele's "Easy on Me."
In the original key.
Playing piano.
Insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, like for those that will just never have that experience, take us there mentally. You were on stage.
Yeah.
You are sitting in front of this incredible set, or sitting on this incredible
set. You're in a
set.
spaceship. It's so high tech. I mean, there's just so much going on. There's so many cameras. Like,
You start to play your song, and you're just staring at the backs of these chairs,
yep.
knowing full well who's behind each one.
Yeah.
And somehow you're supposed to just be cool with that.
Oh man, I really only took it in right as I was walking on stage. I looked up at the chairs. I'm like, oh my gosh, those are the iconic chairs I've been watching for 10 years now. They're full. And then I was like, okay, like literally my attention went right to the piano. I was kind of like getting my mic stand, looked to the side. I took a big deep breath, went into it, and it was like I kind of blacked out. It almost felt like I was like thinking, obviously I was feeling the song, but I was also like, oh my gosh, like Chance just turned around.
So that's the thing I've always wondered. If you're in that moment and you're able to kind of silence everything, block out the noise, ease your nerves a little bit, and you're like feeling it, you're in the zone, and then all of a sudden an icon turns around because they liked you. How do you maintain composure in that moment?
I thought I messed up in the beginning because I kind of tripped up on a lyric, and I was like, oh no, I lost it. Like in a sense in my head, I was like, this is it. It's over. No one's going to turn around. And then when I kind of get before the chorus hits, Chance turns around. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and it didn't register like, oh, I'm on the show now, because if someone turns around, you're on the show. It was kind of like, oh my gosh, like someone turned, like, because I always love to go into any situation in life with just low expectations. That way, when they're met, it just feels so good. But then you notice, but then you're like, okay, like you just kind of keep going, and that's when I probably really blacked out, is after Chance turned.
But and he was the first.
He was the first, yeah.
And then
right
Blake
before.
turned around.
And then Blake turned around right out of the last chorus as I was kind of like finishing out the song. And then when he turned around, I was just had the biggest smile on my face. And also that I was like, okay, I'm almost done, because it's just so terrifying of an experience, but so fun at the same time. And when he turned around, I was like, wow, like the Blake Shelton, who is very picky with who he turns around with, and who's been doing the show and listening to so many singers. And I'm like, the fact that I got him to turn around, who's been on the show since 2011, I just, after the fact, I was thinking that. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
So you probably get asked this a million times, but what was it like working with Blake Shelton?
He's hilarious. He's down to earth, doesn't take himself or life too seriously, and really focuses on just the true authenticity with each of his artists, which I love. He just lets you be you. He lets you sing about what you want to sing about, and it's in a sense, he just, even though he's a country dude, I feel like that's why he does well on the show, because he honors the genuine authenticity of each person. So,
which I think that's what makes every musician uniquely them, right?
Yeah,
embracing that authenticity.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, anything else? Just trying to think. Obviously, people can go watch the shows. That there were 3 episodes that you were on. So you had the blind audition, the battle round.
Made it in the battle round. Got stolen onto Niall Horan's team, who's actually coming to Utah next month, and I'm going to be out of town, traveling to Banff, and I'm super sad. And then I made it to the knockout round, and then it was eliminated from there. So I made it halfway.
Okay, still amazing. 3 episodes though. And by the way, I don't think any of us feel bad for you that you have to go to Banff.
Oh,
that sounds amazing.
I'm so excited. I'm going for my partner's birthday and celebrating. He just graduated with a bachelor's in business. So we want
Cool.
to kind of celebrate his birthday and his degree, and honestly just get away with friends and, you know, decompress, turn our phones off for 4 days and go in the wilderness. And soak in that blue water.
We went up to Whistler, Canada a couple years ago, and at first I was like, why are we going to Whistler, Canada? What's in Whistler, Canada? Yeah. And then we
never heard of it.
We took a helicopter to the top of this mountain where there were these inflatable kayaks waiting for us. Wow. And we hiked down this glacier, and literally on these glacial melt pathways, we kayaked in them, and the water was exactly as you described.
Blue Gatorade.
Turquoise blue Gatorade.
Wait, I think I saw this on your Instagram story. It was literally these like little streams,
these little channels. Yeah.
These little channels. I've never forgotten that. Like, ever since you posted it, I'm like, what is this?
I was literally going through my phone the other day, and I was like, I need to like repost this photo. This is one of the most beautiful photos on my phone. This water is so clear. You need to put it on
TikTok and then watch it go viral.
That's it. Well, that's awesome, man. What a cool story. Your journey has been super, super fun to watch. I want to transition now to a little segment that I have called Genre Roulette. Okay. And this is going to give us and those listening an opportunity to learn a little bit about the eclectic musical taste of EJ Michels.
Ooh.
So this is what's going to happen. I am going to call out a random musical genre, and I want you to tell me your favorite song in that genre. Because I know one thing about you. You're a musician, yes. You're a literal rock star, but you've got eclectic music taste. You can appreciate all sorts of genres. Or if there's not something that's your favorite, just the first song that pops into your head.
I can think of,
in that genre, okay? So here's like a little underhand pitch. We'll start here. All right, rock and roll.
I would say Journey, Don't Stop Believing.
Is there a story there?
I did a Glee camp, and I sang the lead in the Glee camp. That no one knows this. No one's seen this footage. This is like in high school. I joined a Glee camp and sang that. I was like the lead, and did this entire show and loved it because I was such a huge fan of Glee.
So you're saying there's a video of this?
There's a video, and I literally, Mindy Pack, the voice coach, she was the director of it. She's trying to send it to me. She's trying to dig in and pull it out somewhere and find it so my boyfriend can watch. So
I'll get your email address. We absolutely want to see that video when it's out.
Oh my god,
that's amazing. Okay, next genre, pop.
Oh man, I don't know. I just thought of Ed Sheeran. I feel like he's the king of like singer-songwriter pop right now. He's just taken the world by storm. Just him and his acoustic guitar. It's insane. What's his song? Lego House?
Lego House.
That really got him big. He's kind of like my inspiration as a solo artist who can really do something with so little, like just him and his guitar, and a live show that just fills up stadiums. Him and a guitar.
How do you make something so massive feel so intimate? And it's Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
like it's amazing. These guys here on the team could attest to this. Every time we're setting up, I'm playing my Ed Sheeran playlist. I'm hooked. Like everything he writes is just so catchy.
Oh yeah,
and hooky, and like you just can't help but listen to it on repeat. So yeah, I'm with you 100% there. All right, this is where it starts to get a little interesting.
Yes, let's go.
Here we go. Country.
Oh man, I'm not gonna say Blake Shelton. I will say Lady A. I really love. I think it's not Need You Now. It's American Honey. I really like their song American Honey. It's just such a hometown, like want to be younger as a kid feel. And I have this one student that sings American Honey like once a year. We'll go back to that song type of a thing. And yeah, I just feel like the country duo where it's a male and a female singer singing together and the harmonies of that, it sounds so good.
Yeah, I like that. All right, we're going to go a little further now. We're getting into like Gentry's world a little bit here.
Oh, okay.
How about classical, which is kind of weird to say that's Gentry's world, but I think you get what I mean.
No,
so I'm thinking like instrumental, like old school, iconic classical? Is there a piece or even like a composer that like, yeah, that's my guy?
You know, I know this is kind of basic and everyone knows it, but Claire de Lune. I'm learning that on piano right now. That song stood out to me, I think, during Ocean's 11 when it was towards the end of the movie.
Bellagio fountains.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
It's just a peaceful song, but it's evergreen and it will live the test of time.
I agree. It's
ages.
iconic for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, last genre, and this is actually probably more like gentry land. Film score.
Oh my gosh. I would have to say I have a few. Which one do I choose though? I feel like the Peter Pan 2001 movie, there was a certain song called Flying, and I think it was James Newton Howard, I think is his name. Oh, that's just such a childhood nostalgia for me. Just something I could fall asleep to or go back to when I'm on like a drive out to nature. Yeah, James Newton Howard. I think he's done many soundtracks. I love his stuff.
It's funny you say that because my cliche answer would probably be like,
Hans
Zimmer, Time from Inception, or Pirates of the Caribbean was pretty iconic. But going back to my childhood, I specifically remember my parents on repeat on their CD player in their car playing the soundtrack to Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner.
Ooh.
There was something about that orchestrated score that was just such a vivid memory. And it just like stirred up all these emotions as we would like drive through God's country, through Montana. And it was just like, this is literally the soundtrack of Montana. Like, it's crazy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, so speaking of eclectic musical taste, you have a brand new album coming out. By the time this releases, it will probably have been out for a while. But I want to talk to you about that. I mean, this is exciting stuff.
Yes, I am so excited about this album. I've been working on it for 2.5 years. It's been kind of a journal entry of my life from the past 3 years of falling out of love, falling into love, deep self-reflection, healing, kind of like my, deeper and feeling my deeper feels and emotions and just kind of looking inward and introspectively wanting to heal certain traumas I've been through. And the album just is so personal for me and it just means so much. And I really can't wait for people to hear the whole thing and have an experience of listening to it from front to end and, reading through the different CD stuff where you can like open. I literally made CDs for it, like a jewel case with the cover where you can go through lyrics and there's even a message on the back. I made a vinyl for it. There's a world around with the cover art and where I shot the cover art. There's just kind of a story with the whole thing. So I felt like it's my first piece of art that has like a cohesiveness to it that I just am so excited about that.
We were talking about that at a Gentry meeting the other day. Like there's something so nostalgic, and it's weird to even say nostalgic because it doesn't seem like that long ago, but about like having a physical compact disc that's shrink wrapped that you have to open up. And it's got like that grip on the plastic because it's so fresh and new.
Yeah.
You open it up and then there's a little booklet inside. And it's just like this.
You can touch it. You can physically read it. And it's having it because music's so digital now, but it's like a sense of just taking the artist home with you.
Totally. Yeah. And feeling like you're getting an experience that you just otherwise wouldn't get listening to it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. So as far as the track list for this particular album, is it all originals?
All originals, everything. There's 11 songs on it. The first half, I have 4 songs, are kind of like the love songs. And then I have a piano solo I wrote. That's no lyrics, no vocals, no melodies. I mean, it's piano solo, so there's piano melody. After a yoga class, I wrote this song, and it's kind of the midway point through the album that transitions into the second half, the latter half.
Amazing. So I want to have you perform something from that album.
Cool.
What song are you gonna do for us?
I will probably perform my second single that's on acoustic guitar. It's kind of the outlier. There's only one other song that has a guitar. They're all piano songs, but this is the second leading single to the album, and people are loving and eating it up.
And what's it called?
As I Am.
As I Am. I don't know if I've ever heard you do just solo guitar.
Really?
I've heard you a million times on the piano, but never solo guitar. That's awesome.
Yeah, piano or just dancing around the stage.
I love that. And it's called As I Am.
As I Am, yep.
All right, rock on. We're going to turn it over to EJ as he performs a debut single from his new album. The song is called As I Am.
Suburban child, I made it to my 20s. Had it pretty good, but I never knew how to love me. Father gave me blessings from heaven above. Even all that wishing wasn't enough. That black sheep, I made it to my 30s. Finally came to terms with all my demons, almost killed me. All my life I thought I was doing it wrong. My true self was buried in me all along. Do you love me as I am? Would it be so different if I was someone else? Will you take me, family, as I am, as I am? Let's have a conversation, maybe you'll understand. Will you take me, family, as I am? Do you love me as I am? Woo, 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 as I am. All my friends, they tell me all the stories. Seems like everybody's always going on through something. Some are scared of others, leaving them alone. While some are feeling like they never did belong. Looking for love in everything around me. Thought I was for special when I saw the world adore me. That was just another way to cover up my flaws. And I didn't think validation does come at a cost. Do you love me as I am? Would it be so different if I was someone else? Will you take me, family, as I am, as I am? Let's have a conversation, maybe you'll understand. Will you take me, family, as I am? Do you love me 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 as I am? As I am, as I am. When everything's falling down, crashing all around, will you take me in your safety? As I am now, different all around, will you take me as around me?
Wow. That was amazing.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So I should have asked this before you performed it, but tell me the context and inspiration of that song.
As I Am was one of those songs. I write about a lot about my life and personal stories. I had this, I think it was Lindsey Sterling's old manager I was talking to, and he's like, you need to write a story song, like a very personal song that's very personal to you and is very more literally talking about your life and kind of your upbringing. And I had a conversation with a friend who was just talking about his parents not really accepting him since he kind of stepped away from their belief system, and how he's really struggles with that. And he kind of carries this constant guilt and shame, and it kind of keeps him from living authentically happy. And that just kind of pushed me to, you know, talk about my story and my upbringing. And I had a really good upbringing. I had a great family, great parents, very supportive, had trials of going through divorce and stuff like that. And me going through just kind of struggles of loving myself and like accepting my queer identity. And that's kind of where the song came from, was getting to a place of being able to ask really vulnerable questions that a lot of people ask and want to feel and know of, you know, do you love me as I am? Not just do you accept me, but like, do you really love all of who I am, every single part of me? And yeah, so my music's always been about vulnerability, and I just love being able to express that. And ever since I was a kid, I think my family's in therapy at one point. My dad's like, you're like the only one that expressed yourself. He's like, you're very good at expressing yourself and just saying how you feel. And I kind of want to just break down the stigma of just, it's not just fine to express how you feel, but that's how it should be. Mm-hmm. Just a safe space for everyone to ask those type of questions, and there's no shame about it. There's no embarrassment. There's no, oh, that's taboo. Like, don't ask those questions, like, or getting shut down. It's just creating space for it.
I love it, man. I love that this album is kind of an opportunity for people to get to know you on a more personal level. I unfortunately have not been blessed with the gift of being able to write from scratch music that would put into words and put into notes, the feelings of my heart. So to be able to have that gift is amazing, and it's cool. I'm excited for people to check that out.
Thank you.
So the last part of this, obviously, this podcast is called The Dreamer's Den. It's a podcast about daring to dream. It's something that I'm very personally very passionate about, and it's something that I think resonates with so many people, because who, when they really think about it, like, doesn't have some type of dream. And I think in this particular case, talking with you resonates with me because there's kind of this musician brotherhood that extends also to women and ladies, obviously. But you know what I mean? It's like when you meet another musician that's like really trying to do it, there's like an instant connection, because that you don't succeed in music by accident.
Yeah.
And like, yes, you can be talented, but at a certain point, like, talent alone will not get you where you need to go, at least in the right way. Like, unless you want to get taken advantage of, and it can get ugly very quickly. But if you want to do it the right way with your talent, it is a grind. And there are so many hours that people never see. And it's so interesting when you're a kid, right? It's like, well, what do you want to be? It's like, well, I want to be either a police officer or an astronaut, an NBA player, or a rock star. And for most people, they will never touch any of those four. And here you are literally living one of those. Like, what is it like to wake up and realize that you had a dream to be that rock star, and you are literally fulfilling that dream today?
I got to pinch myself sometimes. I really feel like you kind of just get sucked into the grind, I would say, in a sense of you're so focused on what's next and always working, where most of the time I just feel like I'm kind of in the moment. It's who I am. It's not even like, I don't even sometimes view it as a line of work. It's just an extension of myself and expression and being able to do that. But then there's also the adult side of my brain that's like, okay, you got to make money from this. Like, you got to treat this as a business and write up contracts and book gigs and market yourself and, do your own taxes and your own insurance and stuff like that. But it's, I think it's on the days, it's usually after shows is when I kind of had those moments of like, I'm so happy I built a life that I can do this and sustain myself and my family I'm creating, and being able just to meet people and connect with people. Because at the end of the day, that's what I really love. That's what really fuels me, is being able to meet so many people through this and impact and connect with so many people after the shows, and seeing how it impacts people and how it plays into their life. And I think that's my favorite thing. Just humans are so lovely, and it's always been about kind of finding a community where we're like, oh, you've been heartbroken too? Yeah, me too. Like, or, oh, you've been through this hard experience? Me too. It's kind of like you just feel less alone knowing there's other people who feel what you do and go through what you do. And yeah, so it's amazing. And I mean, I feel like when I first got into it, there was a level of like, I want to be, the biggest celebrity. But like, after going on shows like The Voice and being in the spotlight behind the cameras, there's part of me that's like, I would rather have my music be more well known because I like my privacy and I like being able to go to the grocery store in peace or to like just go out and about. So I can't imagine what some musicians go through when they really make it big and everyone knows who they are. But that's kind of my goal, is just to reach as many people as possible. And wherever I go, just graciously accept, you know, whatever success is landed to me. And I'm going to keep working regardless of how many people I reach.
Well, I love it, man. And you've had such success, not only as a solo artist, but, you know, with the boys of Foreign Figure. And I got to shout them out. Johnny T, Steve, and Seth. Love those guys.
Love them.
Man, you guys are so fun to watch live. Like I say, I try to come to every show, as you know, that I possibly can.
Thank you.
You guys bring an energy. Your music is infectious. And frankly, like, you know, speaking of great songwriting, like super catchy. Like I've got a number of your songs on my gym playlist. I love it.
They're like good pump up songs.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh yeah.
So the band dynamic is an interesting one because it is, I mean, you're basically like family. And, you know, I'm going to go out here on a limb and assume that you fight like family, you argue like family, you have to work through things like family, but you know, when it's time to love and come together, you do that like family as well. How long have you guys been together as a group in total?
We were established in 2014. So
okay,
that's almost 10 years.
Yeah, you're coming up on a decade.
We're 9 years now.
So I don't remember if it's either 4 or 7. I want to say it's 4, but like most bands never make it past 4. So you're living on borrowed time, as far as the band world goes, right? And like I say, I know what it's weird to even call us this, but me and my band have gone through, and it's been some ups and some downs. Let me tell you, but I also know that in some of those down times, those were critical moments. Moments where maybe the viability of the band was hanging by a thread, but it caused all of us to step back and say, what do we actually want and what's it going to take for us to get that? And they've also, ironically, been some of our more unifying times. Has there been any instance like that in the history of Foreign Figures that you can point to or think to that's like, this was a turning point for us, as hard as it was in the moment?
Oh, yeah. I think the hardest one was in 2020. I think that was kind of the moment of change where we realized we had to make a change in order to stay together in a healthy dynamic, because everyone grows, and everyone with growth is change, and with change is evolution and expansion, and we never stay the same. And I think part of that is our desires and our wants of where we want to go. And I think that was the moment we decided to kind of open up the relationship in quote unquote, in a way, in a sense where we're all, rather than having me as the sole front man and making a song at a time as just under Foreign Figures, that we would all explore our solo projects, but stay together and create those together and perform together still, where we're still evolving to the point now where I feel like we really have honed in on a sound, and we would never have gotten to where we are today if we didn't make those hard decisions that I feel like people just, it's so hard that people just, they give up. They just break up. It's kind of like, what's the point? But when you feel like you have something bigger than yourself, that's when you're like, okay, this is going to go on without us. At least in my head, I was like, if I walked away from this, like it's going to keep going forward. And I just love the guys so much, and we're just brothers. And I love having this outlet of being able to express this other side of myself that I wouldn't be able to by myself. So yeah. And even before that, we've had so many ups and downs on tour, in the studio, fighting over song direction, getting along with each other, you know, at 6 a.m. in the morning, after a show, and loading in and out, you know, 3 shows in one day. So many possible scenarios that I feel like people wouldn't even go through with a spouse, because you're also building a career together and you're creating something together. So that's just it's a different level. not to say it's a greater level, it's just a different level. And you definitely, we now have a lot more balance where I feel like shows, rehearsals, writing songs are much more enjoyable than they were in the past, because we've built a system that works for us, and we all are being our authentic selves. And it took us a while to figure that out, honestly.
And the dynamic is in a more healthy place, which
100%
takes years to get there, because you're all different people going through different things, different stages of life, like the whole, totally get it. Well, and I call you the Foreign Figures frontman because in my heart, sorry boys, that's what you will always be. But I do want to shout out, having been to your shows, listen to your music, all of you are just wildly talented. You can all step out, be that frontman, carry the show for that moment. So again, shout out to the boys. Go check them out, Foreign Figures. So as we wrap up, EJ, first of all, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's been so cool. The last thing I want to do with you is called the Dreamer's Digest. And I want you to go back in time to the moment that you can first remember. Little EJ, I'm going to assume it was probably before you were born, because we all know you were born to be a musician. But whatever that moment is, and you had the desire and the thought like, okay, policeman, astronaut, NBA player, rock star. I'm going to do the rock star thing. And you knew that's what you were going to do, but you didn't have any of the knowledge, the context, the understanding that you have today. If today's EJ could go back and talk to that young, starstruck, optimistic musician that knew nothing but wanted everything, what would you tell him?
I tell him it's all going to work out. Yeah. Just like, go for it. It's all going to work out.
I love that.
That's what I tell him.
That's confidence. I love that, man. Once again, you've been listening to my good friend here, EJ Michels from Foreign Figures, solo recording artist, among many other things, on the Dreamer's Den podcast. EJ, where can they find you, follow you, listen to your stuff?
EJMichels.com, EJMichelsmusic.com, which has everything, my videos, music, socials, email list. I would say go there. And I'm usually on Instagram most of the time.
That's the channel to reach you. I love it. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, we invite you all to give us a follow across all social media, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Dreamer's Den Podcast. And of course, listen to all the episodes by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're at it, don't forget to kindly rate and review the podcast, which of course helps us not only to reach more listeners, but also to improve the quality of the show. On behalf of the entire Dream Team, I'm Brad Robbins reminding you to work hard, be kind, and always dare to dream.